Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly, and this is No Spin. You're watching Cav Country.
Hello and welcome to Cav Country. I'm Specialist Charlie Mabe. Today, we'll take a look at a soldier who's saving lives with toys. And I'll take you to the An-Najaf province where a very special ceremony took place. But first, when I say Three Kings, what do you think of? Wise men bringing gifts? Or maybe the movie that takes place in this region? Ironic, huh? Well, the Three Kings that we're going to look at is actually an operation designed to flush weapons out of the hands of insurgents. 2nd Brigade's Army Sergeant Cap Kim went out on the mission and shows us how it went down.
The American and Iraqi National Police recently teamed up for a cordon search called Operation Three Kings in the Al-Dora neighborhood of Baghdad in hopes of finding illegal weapons caches.
The Army is doing very well. Hasn't been much focus on the Iraqi police or the national police. So our partnership with the national police for this next year will be critical to the overall effort on the global war on terror, especially here in Iraq.
During Operation Three Kings, the Iraqi National Police and the 212 soldiers worked side by side from the beginning of the mission to the end. During the search, 212 and the Iraqi National Police searched for suspicious items through more than 30 different houses, which were mostly abandoned.
Basically, we've had a lot of problems with them managing to smuggle RPG rounds, mortar rounds, and homemade explosives. Friendly coming in! We've had a lot of problems with them. Managed to smuggle that in somehow, even with the Jersey barriers up and everything around the mahalas. So we're going through the abandoned houses now. They've been bringing stuff in and burying it, that kind of thing, in all these abandoned houses. So we're going through all of them and checking them out and seeing if there's anything else suspicious.
Reporting from Baghdad, Iraq, this is Army Sergeant Cap Kim, 2nd Blackjack Brigade, 1st Cavalry Division.
Now, operations in Iraq just don't happen by land. The Army has been known to drop in on the bad guys literally from the sky. But don't forget that Iraq has two major rivers running through it, the Tigris and the Euphrates. The 10th Mountain Division's Army Private John Kano takes us on a raid up the river and shows us what it takes to assault an island.
Soldiers from Bravo Company, 2nd Battalion, 14th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Brigade Combat Team employed Mark II bridging boats for multiple missions, including searching for brigade high-value targets and searching for weapons caches. The operations took place over multiple days.
Our role in today's operation was clear and sweep an island which had former caches on it, and we were sweeping it, checking all the old caches and looking for potential new ones. So.
After scouring the island for weapons caches, the soldiers took to their boats again in an effort to find suspected terrorists in a village in Sadr al-Yusufiyah.
There's a cell that we've Al-Qaeda cell across the river from our battle position 206. We've observed them for months now, actually. There's mortar teams, they've shot across at us, so we're going into that village to 3 target houses.
Using boats as a means to carry out operations on the Euphrates River is still a new initiative to the 2nd Brigade Combat Team. However, the soldiers welcome the idea.
It's a nice change of pace. It breaks up the monotony of a deployment because, you get used to the same thing all the time. So, brings in something new, a little change, much needed change, if you will.
During the raid on the village in Sadr al-Yusufiyah, the soldiers of Bravo Company, 214 Infantry, captured 2 of the 3 high-value targets. The 2nd Brigade Combat Team will continue to use all of the tools at their disposal in order to make Iraq a safer place for its citizens. Reporting for the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 10th Mountain Division, from Sadr al-Yusufiyah, I'm Army Private John Kano.
It's not uncommon to hear about extraordinary soldiers here in the war in Iraq, troopers who have received bronze and silver stars for bravery and valor in combat. But there's another type of hero here, the everyday hero whose actions make it possible for day-to-day operations to even take place. Army Sergeant Jesse Granger introduces us to one soldier who's saving lives every day by playing with toys.
Hey, y'all know how to do a proper startup and shutdown, right?
Meet Private First Class Douglas Gamel. He's your typical commo soldier, responsible for the communication equipment of an entire infantry company. but he has a unique approach to his work.
Alright, yeah, all I gotta do is take this up to the commo shop.
I see myself pretty much as a kid getting to play with really expensive toys out there and be able to just fix equipment and do my job.
But these aren't just any toys. As Private Gamble can tell you, communication is critical on the battlefield.
If you can't communicate, then you're not going to be able to do anything else out there. You're pretty much stuck in one spot and no one's going to know what you're doing, or you're not going to know what anyone else is doing.
Private Gamble will see every broken radio and worn-out CPU in the company this year, and his work could mean the difference between life and death for his fellow soldiers. But he doesn't let the stress get to him.
Sometimes there's a lot of people going on a mission at once.
Yeah, I gotta go up to the commo shop.
And they all need me at the same time.
And once I get the new one back, I'll be back down here.
It's stressful at times, but I mean, if I look back on it later, I just feel like I was important and like I did my, job pretty well.
After his work is done, Private Gamble picks up his toys and heads home to rest. Tomorrow will be a new game and another chance to help his friends. From Baghdad, Iraq, Sergeant Jesse Granger, 7th MP.
If you've been following the news, you might have heard that soldiers in Iraq got a special visitor, the new Secretary of Defense, Robert Gates. Secretary Gates stopped by the multinational division Baghdad area of operations to meet troops and get a first-hand look at the progress being made in the Iraq War. Here you can see him posing with Command Sergeant Major Philip Jondro and Major General Joseph F. Field Jr. and Trigger, the horse, during his stop at Camp Liberty. Speaking of notable visitors, Bill O'Reilly, the outspoken commentator from Fox News, broke chow hall bread with soldiers and later signed hats, shirts, and books for fans during his tour of the Baghdad area.
I simply wanted to come over to Iraq to say thank you to all the troops over here, because I haven't been here, been covering it obviously from the day it started, and I had to come over.
That's the Baghdad update. Back to you, Specialist Mabe. Thanks, Sergeant Patillo. Now, the city of Najaf is considered one of the most holy places for Shiite Muslims, the birthplace of Shia Islam. It's there that the Shiites believe that Abraham and Isaac settled, and in modern history, the place where Mohammed Sadiq al-Sadr was gunned down by Saddam's thugs. It's also a notable place for the Cav, where in 2004 we fought a major battle against the Mahdi militia and Muqtada al-Sadr, the fallen Mohammed Sadiq al-Sadr's son. And now, Najaf has another page to add to its storied history. The festivities were held with as much pomp and circumstance as the residents of An-Najaf province could muster.
Now we can add its achievement to the previous achievements that were accomplished by the National Reconciliation Government. National reconciliation is the key for the Iraqi people to end the fighting in Iraq. We are asking our neighboring countries to stop interfering in Iraq's affairs.
As the local government ceremoniously took control of all security operations within their borders.
Transferring the responsibility for security in An-Najaf al-Ashraf is an indication of the increased capability of the Iraqi police and the Iraqi army. Their capabilities grow every day, and civil governance will take the lead in providing for the province's security enforcement needs. Now is the time for all Iraqis to work together within the law to fight terrorism and violence that originates from both foreign and domestic sources. The future of Iraq depends on its people.
But the people of Najaf are no strangers to uphill battles. Oppressed under Saddam, they found a hard-earned freedom with Iraq's liberation. Struggle capped by today's historic signing.
Because of the liberation, we have been able to rebuild our country. We now have a democratic government. Women can vote and hold office. Najaf is now one of the most secure provinces in Iraq. Today, we accomplished a very important thing.
But this was more than just a transfer of authority. The handing over of the An-Najaf province was the first piece in a larger puzzle that will form an eventual picture of a self-sustaining Iraq. And with that, it's time to say goodbye from Cav Country. Remember, for more stories from the front, you can always visit www.cavcountry.net for daily updates on the first team's progress in and around the Baghdad area. I'm Specialist Charlie Mabe. From all of us here at Cav Country, good luck and Godspeed.